Work management platforms. Ugh, endless onboarding, IT bottlenecks, admin requests. But what if things were different?
We found love in an open space.
Monday.com is different. No lengthy onboarding. Beautiful reports in minutes. Custom workflows you can build on your own. Easy to use prompt-free AI. Huh. Turns out you can love a work management platform. Monday.com, the first work platform you'll love to use.
Welcome to the RuPaul's Drag Race Recap Show for All-Star Season 10, Episode 4, titled The 8 Ball. My name is Joe Betance, and I am joined, as always, by one very healthy co-host from the podcast. Pan is my co-pilot. Please say...
She loves to, poke the bear, you know what I mean?
To Mr. Taylor, the Latte Boy. Hello, Taylor.
Does healthy mean fat?
You know, I remember when I at one point I was working on a joke about how healthy portion does not mean healthy.
Yeah.
This is years ago. Like, a healthy portion of macaroni and cheese. I'm like, well, a healthy portion of macaroni and cheese would be like a tiny spoonful.
Right.
But that's not what it means. But yeah, no, it doesn't mean fat. It meant that you're healthy.
Thank you. I tried.
I know. Yeah. I really did. So, Taylor the Latte Boy, you are back.
Yes, I was at a cruise last week, and I appreciate everybody that filled in for me.
He wasn't on a boat, by the way. He was in a back alley in Boys Town and just making long stares into people's eyes and then going to
Yeah.
the alley.
Just one after the other. Just
Whoa,
you know
it was
what?
crazy.
Yeah. Because those Disney cruises aren't cheap. So
No.
a girl's
He
got to
found
do what a
lot of
girl's got to
ducks.
do.
You found a lot of ducks. Do you ever find these ducks on the boat?
Actually, my husband did find one, and he found a
God.
duck that was Stitch, which is his favorite character. So he was very excited about that.
Oh, and he kept it?
He kept it, and he found the woman, I guess, who he watched her put one away someplace, and then he walked over to her and said, "You're the duck lady," and she said yes. And he goes, "I found one of your ducks," and she was very happy about that. Apparently, though, they are Disney is going to crack down on that, and they are not going to allow the ducks to be out anymore. So Adam Burns's idea that he talked about on one of your other shows, it's immediately, it's already, okay, let's put the kibosh on that now.
I would never tell him. I would never tell him.
Crestfallen would be the only way to describe that.
He's already... Okay, guys, so this is ease right into the Patreon plug. But we have a show on the air called Throwing Down, and one of the guys narrowly missed being laid off by his job. And he was telling me, Taylor, that he wished he had been laid off.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. And that and he wants to pursue this duck thing. People don't know what I'm talking about. I just learned this, but I guess in the cruising world, there are people who hide ducks and people find the ducks. And so our friend wants to 3D print these ducks, and it's a whole thing. I'm not gonna give too much away about the business, but yeah. So
we talked about it on the cruise. I did let other people know, other friends of mine know about it.
Yeah.
And then they started talking about all of the how that could go sideways real fast, and which I hadn't thought of, and then thought oh, maybe I shouldn't have said, you should totally do that.
Yeah. Because how do I put this? I was even, what I'm going to tell you right now, I was even hesitant. I only told 2 people. I said, you're the only person I'm going to tell. And now I'm going to tell on the podcast.
Right.
A video came, and this, I'll tell you how it relates to the ducks in a second. A video came across my FYP on TikTok that on the surface, in a weird kind of way, that TikTok's computer algorithm wouldn't pick up on it. But any sort of person with a brain and knows what's going on would know that something very evil and awful was being implied in this video.
Okay.
And I was disturbed by that. And so when you say the ducks, I could see a version of this being something very similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Little sinister.
Sinister is the perfect word. This video, even though on the surface was, why would TikTok ban it? It was 100% sinister is the right word. It is the perfect word. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. On the ship, they have shows, like Broadway style shows. And there's one that they've had that has apparently won all sorts of like cruising awards as far as best show kind of thing. And the short version is it's about a little girl who's talking to Peter Pan. And then they're talking about all the different Disney stories and everything. And she has to learn how to fly by the end of the show, by the time the clock strikes 6 a.m., or then she starts to grow up kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, which is fine. And it all takes place in her beautiful Victorian bedroom.
Yeah.
But the last scene is somehow she's gotten up on the roof and she's standing on this little platform next to Peter Pan with the intention. And I'm just like, oh, she's had a psychotic break. That's what it said. Like my brain immediately went to therapist Taylor and was like, oh, this isn't good. This isn't good. Now little kids are going to think that they can fly if they go up on the roof and they just believe hard enough.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's sort of similar. So speaking of, by the way, Taylor tapped into his therapy. He put his therapy hat on in Just Between Us Girls and gave us the full rundown of his opinion of the let them theory. We talked, we gave behind the scenes tea a little bit and talked about that. And then both of us took our shirts off. So all these exciting things happened over on Just Between Us Girls, which you can do and listen to. We can't do it, but you can listen to and enjoy over at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. I highly advise getting the app. And again, I need to plug this. Look, do I want you to join and pay? Yes. You're going to get this show commercial free and early. You're going to get Just Between Us Girls at an executive tier. I mean, you get all kinds of shows and content, but even the free version, you get live video shows. You get access to hundreds and hundreds of hours of content. You get this show a couple of weeks later, all kinds of stuff. And I'm sure I'll tell you more and more about it. But why don't we jump right into it? This week, 6 new queens enter the competition for the next round of All-Stars. On the main stage, the category is 8-ball eleganza. In the Antina Burner and Lydia B. Collins are in the top 2, forcing them face off in a lip-sync battle for the win. After all was sung and done, Lydia B. Collins won the challenge. Taylor the Latte Boy. Were the right 2 queens in the top, and did the right queen win the lip sync?
Yes and yes. That's the short version. I thought of the 2, who would have thought that I would ever say the phrase Tina Burner had my favorite look of the night? But I thought that look was so polished and so well tailored. There was no way that she wasn't going to win. And Lydia kept to her, spoke to her brand, and used had all the fun colors and that sort of thing. And I think most importantly, it was important that those 2 won so that Mistress couldn't. So in that regard, yes, the two won. And I did think, though, the lip sync, I don't know what the hell Tina was doing, but it was not a good lip sync compared to even Lydia's was just sort of okay. But between the 2 of them, she definitely was the better of the 2.
So it's interesting that you and I agree on a lot, but yet disagree on something. Because you seem to be echoing some of the sentiment I've seen online as well. But we'll get to that after the break. But on Rulaska Thoughts this week, I talked about how I'm very curious. I'm sad that Lydia's on All-Stars this season because I'd be very curious to have her go away for a while and see her come back in like 5 to 10.
Yes.
Because she's so young, but yet so talented. And I think what she did today spoke to that. I think she has a lot of raw talent. And for someone, I will say this, say what you will about the lip sync, this is my opinion, is she has an innate ability, to somehow tap into the vibe of an era of a song that isn't from her generation. So while she shouldn't have been able to, I felt she sort of captured the vibe of the song correctly, whether it was successful or not. I feel she captured the vibe, and she can, for being so young, it was sort of surprising. I feel Tina Burner, again, I thought it was fine in my end. I thought it was a very kind of drag you would see in a P-Town performance or a drag club, sort of old school. Tina Burner gives old school drag queen energy, and I think it was kind of that performance. In terms of the lip syncs, were the right two queens at the top? Yes. I actually don't get the praise for Mistress's look. I thought her look was very standard. I don't see why there was so much praise. And did the right queen win? Yes. So yeah, I'm yes and yes on your end as well. When we come back from the break, though, we are going to talk about what our big takeaways were from this episode, and we're going to do that right after this.
Work management platforms. Ugh, endless onboarding, IT bottlenecks, admin requests. But what if things were different?
We found love in an open space.
Monday.com is different. No lengthy onboarding, beautiful reports in minutes, custom workflows you can build on your own, easy to use prompt-free AI. Turns out you can love a work management platform. Monday.com, the first work platform you'll love to use.
Long gone are the days of waiting to be seen in a doctor's office only to have that awkward conversation with your healthcare provider. Wisp gives you access to sexual and reproductive healthcare from the comfort of your home. Get treatment for BV, yeast infections, UTIs, and much more delivered directly to your home or ready for pickup at your local pharmacy in less than 3 hours. The best part? Wisp is discreet, convenient, and you don't need medical insurance to receive care or prescription medication. Visit us today at hellowisp.com.
If you were fixing your bra straps, fussing with wires, or battling your bra during this podcast, stop right now. You'll want to hear this. Those bra problems, those problems you thought you had to live with, Third Love has solved them. Their bras make it easy to get what you want, whether it's ultimate cleavage, a smooth look, or stopping your shirt buttons from pulling. With over 60 sizes, including half cups you won't find anywhere else, you'll never be stuck between two sizes that don't fit. So stop settling for bad bras. Now's the time to treat yourself and get your problem solved. Save $15 on your first order with code PODCAST15 at thirdlove.com.
And we are back. So Taylor, what was your big takeaway from this episode?
My big takeaway was that how do I say this without sounding like I'm trashing? It's going to be, I think these next 3 weeks are going to be the most difficult for me of the series, because this is a group of girls that, with one or two exceptions, I'm really not immediately a fan of, like I was with Bosco and Irene and the first bracket. So in that regards, I struggled through this episode, but I'm kind of, this is sort of, we have to get through this middle part to get to the next group, in which I really want to watch the dynamics of that group. So that sort of is my takeaway from this, in that it's like, they always talk about, for the most part, like when they talk about the Lord of the Rings movies, the first 3 Lord of the Rings movies, they talk about the middle one, nothing really happens, but you need to have that happen to get to the final movie. This sort of feels like that is that in this 9 episode overarch.
The 2 towers.
It's the 2 towers. Yeah, it's the 2 towers of the Drag Race season.
Interesting. My big takeaway was, I have a couple of big takeaways. One was that you said something earlier about Mistress. It was, you were glad Mistress didn't win. And it was so interesting because my perception of this episode was, and so I think it's very interesting, everyone's different take, and I'm very curious to hear where Robert falls or other people, is not that I have a particular soft spot for Mistress Isabel Brooks, but that how unlikable Tina Burner came off in the workroom.
Okay.
And not that necessarily Mistress Isabel Brooks was likable, but how do I put it? If you were to tell me who are the heroes or the good guys on this episode and who are the bad guys or bad guy, I would say everybody is the good guy and Tina's the bad guy. That was just
I would disagree with that.
How interesting. That's why I think it's so interesting. That's my big takeaway is because what people online are echoing what you're saying. So I'm not even saying, oh my God, Taylor, you're an idiot. You're so wrong. Clearly,
Well, not
I haven't
publicly on the show. You wait till after we're done taping, and then you call me and go, "What the fuck were you thinking?"
In fact, I've made sock puppet accounts and everything that just harass Taylor and everything like that. In fact, I don't even have any Patreon supporters. I just have made an entire universe. It's not real. They're all just sock puppets that just go and attack Taylor. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that is so interesting. Not again, I don't want to say that I would necessarily, if I'm going to put on the chart, I would put Mistress Isabel Brooks in the chaotic neutral sort of category for this episode. Yeah.
Chaotic neutral?
Chaotic neutral. It's so interesting. That's what we're going to discuss this. You know, there's a lot to discuss in this episode. But
okay.
Yeah, but I found Tina Burner almost, dare I say, kind of creepy.
I can see that. I can definitely see that there was sort of a predatory vibe a couple of times with Lydia. Yeah.
And so that's why I'm like, and I'm this is someone who's conceding that Tina's look was very good and what she accomplished in such a short time was very impressive. I'm conceding that, but the behavior in the workroom, and to me, the real hero is this Nicole Page Brooks, you know, but we'll get to that too. And I'm sure it'll be a topic of discussion for Rulaska Thoughts. All right. So why don't we do this? On that note, why don't we say goodbye to the public feed? Once again, public feed, I have to really encourage you to download the Patreon app, join as a public tier, a free member. Or pay, by the way, and you'll get this immediately. But this episode will drop in a week or two. The full episode on Patreon. You can just listen to it there. But on that note, why don't we say goodbye and we'll be back. Well, no, everyone who'd listen, you're going to be immediately. But we're going to say, you know, while you untuck in the Form Decor Lounge, Taylor and I will talk about the rest of the episode. Okay. So now let's move on to the looks. And this is where Taylor's name changes. You know, right now he spells his name Taylor, the Latte Boy. But during this segment, it becomes Tailor, the Latte Boy.
Talor.
Yeah. Oh, Taylor, the Latte Boy?
And the A has an umlaut over the top of it.
Oh, okay. So the category was 8-ball eleganza. Taylor, go ahead and take over here.
Okay, so Georges struts out in a sculpted bodycon mini with a sweetheart neckline, featuring a cool toned base and bold gold organza hip drapes that flare with movement. The silhouette is dance ready and highly tailored, emphasizing leg and motion. Paired with stiletto heels and voluminous hair, it's a clean execution of pop star fantasy with high glam energy. Okay. I thought this was good. I mean, it definitely shows an evolution to some of her other looks. The way that she sort of talked it up prior to talking about her other design challenges, I was expecting something a little more, but I think the color story and the design and everything were actually pretty good.
All right. Very good. Who's next?
Next up is Carrie Colby. Carrie wears a metallic silver two-piece look draped in fringe and accented with golden ropes and shimmer. Her headpiece adds sculptural height, while the asymmetrical design allows her body and movement to shine through. The overall effect is statuesque and elemental, equal parts goddess and showgirl. I think that the bra, the top, was a great. It was clear that she put a lot of time into that, and it was really well done. The rest of it kind of felt like she just kind of glued things on as fast as she could because she knew she had to come up with the other 8 things.
All right. Very good. Next.
All right. Next up was Lydia B. Collins. Lydia channels 80s aerobic chic with a zebra print catsuit, oversized sequins chartreuse sash, and hot pink ruched vinyl pants. The accessories, including a metallic clutch and exaggerated makeup, push the look into full character drag. It's maximalism with a wink. Campy, coordinated, and committed. We were talking last night. She looked like one of the misfits from Gem and the Holograms.
I could see that, yes.
So, and it worked. It absolutely worked.
I would buy the fuck out of that show on iTunes. I can't remember if it's available or not. But go ahead.
Okay. Gem and the Holograms, really?
I love Gem. You know, there was a while where it was on Netflix. And I remember watching, I thought it would just be there forever. So I just binged the whole first season. I love it. It's so trashy, great, shitty teen cartoon drama. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was obviously I love the 80s as an aesthetic. So I loved this, and I loved the use of pink and green and with the zebra print zebra print.
Oh yeah. This is up your alley.
And it was very up my alley as far as design.
Anytime I did have a thought about it, look, I did write it down. And this one I did say, and I do hold to this, Lydia's one of the few, it may be the only one, who I really feel used every one of the looks and didn't try and like hide them or anything. Like here are all 8 looks. They're being prominently used. Yeah. 8 pieces. And so that was one of the things I had for her. All right. Sorry. Next.
So next up is Mistress Isabel Brooks. She delivered a cartoon bombshell silhouette in a strapless tiger print mermaid gown with massive hip padding and a bronze vinyl corset top. The exaggerated curves, furry accessories, and novelty handbag create a blend of visual burlesque and high drag comedy. Every detail is deliberate, balancing glamour and humor. I agree with what Michelle said. We've seen her in this silhouette 1,000 times. I think that this is an example of what you're talking about in that I have to do something with this. So I'm going to try to throw it in somewhere. And the bag with the, I'm going to, bunch up tool and jam it in a pocketbook or in a purse, just to me didn't work. The blue didn't work in how she was trying to do it. Also, the hair was insane. The hair was insane, and I would even say the makeup was insane. And this kind of is something that I wanted to talk to. Mistress paints like it's war paint to me. The way that she does with the lines and the dark hair and everything, where it's almost, she is someone that, and she's talked about some of the issues that she had, I remember on her season, like with her mom and being thrown out of the house and all of that kind of thing. And, the phrase hurt people comes to mind. And I almost feel like this is a way for her to, this is her way to keep people out by becoming this persona.
This is so interesting to me. Because it's funny how you and I have 2 different takes. And maybe I'm projecting positively onto Mistress, but I, for some reason, don't think I really think she's just having a good time and having fun with everybody.
Okay.
That's so
Great.
interesting. Again, it could be total projection because I do see a lot of myself in her. All right, next. Who's next?
Nicole Paige Brooks gives poolside pinup in a teal metallic bodysuit adorned with applique stars and rhinestones, paired with 2 lime green feather boas for added drama. The silhouette is sleek and simple, allowing the color story and performance elephants to take focus. It's retro, sparkly, and firmly planted in showgirl territory. In a regular season, this would have got her ass sent home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a mess.
This would have, the very least, this would have caused a warning that if we don't see more from you, you're going home next week.
She would have been in the bottom 2.
Absolutely, she would have been in the bottom 2. And she basically said that in Untucked. I know that my outfit was the worst.
This is probably going to be something we bring up on, because it seems more appropriate for Untucked just because Robert's such a big fan of Nicole Paige Brooks. But it was sort of refreshing to see her on the screen because I think she's in that group of queens who is probably a very good drag queen back in Atlanta, Georgia, in her very controlled environment. And I think, I don't think she's good at this competition, but I think she makes great television. I thought she was very entertaining this episode, and it shows the value in older queens who have a history of working, backstage and green rooms and whatnot with other drag queens and how to talk. Mm-hmm. And so it was very refreshing. But again, more of a topic for Alaska Thoughts.
If I can say just an example of that.
No, you can't, dummy. Go ahead. I'll try to make
an example of that
books.
is the back and forth between her and Georges.
Yeah.
In the workroom was very much of that there was an ease to which she talked about that it didn't feel like she was like going for a jugular. It just sort of felt like she was having some fun. And I think Georges was taken aback at first, but then realized like, oh, we can play together. This could be fun.
All right, who's next?
So the last up is Tina Burner. Tina makes a dramatic entrance in a faux snakeskin trench with fur trim, which reveals a glittering red to orange sequins bodysuit and gold lame trousers underneath. The transformation plays with texture, silhouette, and tone, shifting from winter glam to disco heat. Her signature color palette is on full display, anchored by sculpted red hair and fiery platforms. Do you think they were assigned the 8 balls, or do you think they just
I have that in my notes. I think they must have been assigned. They never promised it was random, nor did they show them in a way. You just see them walking back with the 8 balls on a second viewing. I think they were assigned, because how did they guarantee that she got her color scheme?
Right. And even you could say Lydia got that 80s that color palette and stuff is something that I could see Lydia being very comfortable with compared to some of the other ensembles.
Yeah, I think it was an implication by omission, because they never said it was going to be random. They never showed any kind of choosing randomly. It's just they bring the 8 balls in, and then you see the girls walking back. They don't see them scramble for it.
Yeah.
It's just they bring them in, and then you just see the girls walking back with them. So I'm assuming it was assigned.
Yeah.
So, all right. Any other thoughts on these looks?
No, that's the looks.
Those are the looks. All right, Taylor. Well, on that note, bring back my girls. Okay, back on the main stage, Tina Burner and Lydia B. Collins are named the top 2 All-Stars of the week, forcing them to face off in a lip-sync battle for the point. The song, Love Sensation by Lolita Holloway. In the end, Lydia was named the winner of the lip-sync, earning herself an additional point. This leaves Lydia with 3 points, Tina with 2 points, and the remaining 4 girls with 4 MVQ points to distribute on the next episode. Taylor, any final thoughts on the episode?
I have never heard that song before. But I have definitely heard the songs that have been pulled from that. So you have Good Vibrations by Marky Mark, and you have Ride on Time by Black Box, were ones that I didn't realize that both of those songs, the choruses from both of those songs, came from that one particular song.
Yeah, that was very interesting. I noticed it too. Any other thoughts?
No. I'm curious how the next 2 weeks will go. I'm hoping that I feel like I actually really enjoyed the first bracket, and I feel like the wind's out of the sails a little bit, but I'm hoping that it's just that things are going to gust and that I'm going to be excited about this bracket as much as I was the first bracket.
All right, very good. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Drag Race Recap. Be sure to join us next week and every week as we continue to discuss, dissect, and deconstruct each brand new episode of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Season 10. So for Taylor the Latte Boy and myself,
sashay away until next week.
Thank you for listening to Drag Race Recap. Have something to say? Leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia. You can also email us at dragracerecap@afterthought.media. For more Drag Race and LGBTQ+ content, support us over at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. Special thanks to these expensive tier Patreon supporters. April Pacheco, Astute Girl, Brad Coley, Coco San Pedro, Derek Byers, Doofus Maximus, E. Smith, Efren Barbosa, Phil Skit Pony, Flying Suki, Humble Pie, J. Thomas Plink, Kathy Zender, Katie Whitmire, Lauren Eckert, Lucy Carrasco, Mary S., Mike Yeager, Nikki Baker, Nikki Pettit, Polly Anne-Marie, Poppy Woods, Ricardo Herrera, Runner Brandon, Sarah Yu, Tom Bobbs, Travi Cosmos, and Troy Anderson. Drag Race Recap is an Afterthought Media podcast.